compact disc came out and VHS and things like that, and people were getting more and more technology to play with. Things like MTV and stuff like that started being on the television. And then as we moved into the 1990s, we got computers more involved, so you get things, the multi-tracks. The big thing that was huge in the 90s was the internet. And as we know, the internet does wonders for everything. From transposing music, so like two people that are on the opposite coast can work together, that's part of the internet, or downloading somebody else's song and things like that. And as we get into the 2000s, we get CDRs and DVDRs, and then we're now on Blu-ray is the new standard, which is really just a storage capacity difference between, like, CDs were 700 megabytes, DVDs were 4.3 gigabytes, and Blu-rays can be 25 to 50 gigabytes, so you can store a lot of stuff onto them. The other big thing that happened in 2000 was Napster. Almost everybody in this room probably knows what Napster is. And Apple introduced, they've actually had iPods before 2000s, but their big like reinvention of the iPod came out, and I can't imagine a person in this room that doesn't know what that is. And they've now developed into the touch technology on those, and it's not just the touch technology on the iPhone and Droids and all that. They have, like, this thing right here is actually a big touch screen, and it has all the different knobs and whatnot for adjusting sound levels, pitches, things like just every single little thing you can change on a sound. And the other picture there is a Pioneer setup that somebody has with a MacBook Pro there, and that is for modern DJs, which I'm about to talk about. And it's changed from back when we had vinyl records. We would play, you would put the one song on the record player and then you would scratch it. That was mostly how DJs worked. Nowadays it's a little different. They have computers and hard drives and iPods and everything, and they hook them all up on a network or whatever they're using. And they use what's called cue points. And cue points, you pick a part in a song, like, I'm trying to think of a good one. Like Who Let the Dogs Out? Or the part where it says who lets the dog, or who lets let the dogs out, sorry. You can cue it to just go right back to that point, and then you can mix it with another song on top of it. So you can say who let the dogs out, and then the next button could be who, and you can do all sorts of crazy stuff with that. Yeah. The big thing they use for hardware nowadays, you saw the guy has a Mac, which Apple OS X. A lot of people use Windows. They range from Dell, Acer, and all that good stuff. There's a lot of different DAWs. The big one, I already said, was Pro Tools. The one that comes stock with an Apple computer, if you were to purchase it right now, is GarageBand. It's actually a fairly intuitive program for just something they give you, because if you think nowadays on computers you don't get much at all other than viruses and trials and stuff. And the mini hardware they use, there's still, the USB is the other one, which is what they're kind of going into. It's all going to digital instead of being, it's zeros and ones versus like sound waves. And it's a lot easier to crank up tunes and stuff like that when it's zeros and ones versus the actual wavelengths. And they use microphones, pianos, guitars, and the USB hardware. Turntables are both MIDI and USB. It's kind of complicated how that works, so that's half right. But other than that, I was going to do a demo, but I couldn't get my phone and my laptop to work, so that kind of missed the whole slide right there. But I wanted to conclude by saying Free Wheezy. And they're my sources. Thank you.
Feedback, please.